I have tried every way to get my Kindle highlights into Obsidian the way I want them to be. Plugins, exports, even copy-paste. None of these options worked flawlessly. Then I found a tool that changed everything. And I think it is the Obsidian-friendly book reader many of us have been waiting for. Let me show you what I built and how you can set it up too. If you're using Obsidian to take book notes and you have been struggling to synchronize your highlights or manage your ebook chaos, this might just fix that. Bookfusion, the sponsor of today's video, lets us highlight, annotate, and synchronize everything into Obsidian, cleanly, in Markdown, and fully customizable. And the best part? It works across all our ebooks, not just Kindle. In this video, we are going to walk through exactly how to read, highlight, and annotate with Bookfusion, synchronize notes into Obsidian with full control over templates, migrate our library even from Kindle, and build a repeatable reading to notes system that works for us. Whether you're a researcher, note taker, or just someone who wants to own their data, this setup gives you full control. For years, I relied on Kindle and the Amazon ecosystem for all my reading. But Kindle locks you into its ecosystem. The files are DRM protected, and you cannot really organize or reuse your highlights the way you want. So I turned to Obsidian and used the Kindle Highlights plugin. And it works. But it's pretty limited when it comes to customizing highlights and how they look like. I wanted more control over my ebooks, over my notes, over the entire workflow. I didn't just want to read Kindle books. I wanted to manage ebooks from all kinds of sources. Project PDFs, public domain books, articles, you name it. And I wanted to group highlights by ideas, tag them, add front matter, and decide what gets synchronized and how. That's when I started looking for something better. Something built around flexibility and ownership. So when Bookfusion asked me to review their platform, I was eager to dive in, test it thoroughly, and share what I found, the good and the bad. Let's start with what Bookfusion actually is and why it is not just another ebook reader. And don't worry, even if you do not use Obsidian, there's a lot here you will find useful. Bookfusion's interface is clean and functional. In the left-hand menu, we find links to our entire collection, books grouped by series, and all highlights across our library. If we have left any reviews, we will find them here too. And yes, there is even an option to send books to our Kindle using Amazon's email to Kindle feature. At the top, we can switch between our bookshelf, where we manage our library, our branch, which is a feed of our reading activity that we can share, libraries. These are curated collections that can be public or private, and the store, where we can purchase or browse books and magazines. In the bookshelf view, we can toggle between all books, favorites, planned reads, and finished books. We can also create custom shelves, including so-called smart shelves, which we will look at soon. Of course, we can sort and filter our books, use full-text search, or dive into smart queries to find books by tag, author, or category. Clicking a book opens up its metadata: title, author, tags, categories, and shelf assignments, all editable right here. Once our books are loaded, this is where we will spend most of our time, the reading view. It is fully customizable, from fonts to margins to scrolling style, and naturally, we can sync our library across devices, so we can start reading on one and continue right where we left off on another. Yes, the Kindle app does that too. But with Bookfusion, we are no longer limited to a one format or one ecosystem. Add the social and customization features, and it becomes a unique platform that gives us full control while making it easy to manage books and collaborate with others. Sounds vague? Don't worry. Next, we are going to unpack Bookfusion's key features one by one. One of the things I never liked about Kindle was how hard it was to organize my books. Sure, you can create collections, but that's about it. With Bookfusion, we can finally manage our library our way. We can upload our own files directly from our computer, our phone, or even through Calibre using their integration. Let's stick to the web upload for now. We will cover Calibre in a separate chapter. We click on Upload, and that opens a dialog showing how much storage we have left. Then we can either hit Select Files or simply drag and drop ebooks from our hard disk into the window. Once uploaded, the file gets processed and added to our library. Once a book is in our library, we can edit and enrich its metadata: title, author, series, tags, categories, so everything stays clean and easy to find. Since we probably have more than one book, we may want to organize them. To do so, we can create static shelves and put our books there, or we define so-called smart shelves. We click on the plus icon next to My Bookshelf, then on Create Shelf for a static one. Then we give it a title, click on Create, and then on Add Books to put books in there. For smart shelves, we follow the same start, but then click on Create Smart Shelf instead. We give it a name, then define a rule. Bookfusion will automatically populate the shelf with all matching books, and it stays updated in real time as metadata changes. And if our collection grows, the built-in search and filtering tools help us find exactly what we are looking for. We can use the search box, build a smart query, or use quick filters based on categories, authors, and tags. Now let's dive into the reading experience inside Bookfusion and see how we can really make it our own with the many customization options it offers. We can read our ebooks on any platform, web, tablet, or phone, and Bookfusion synchronizes our reading position across devices. It also syncs any bookmarks, highlights, and annotations. This allows us to not only jump between chapters using the table of contents, but also to navigate directly to specific highlights with just a tap or click. But what really sets Bookfusion apart is how deeply customizable the reading view is. We can tweak the font type, font and background colors, text size, line height, alignment, and margins. We can also switch between vertical and horizontal scrolling. Further down, we will find options for text to speech, including different voices and reading speeds. The remaining settings also affect the text's appearance. Once we have set everything the way we like, we can save those settings as a preset, making it super easy to switch between profiles for different reading situations like daytime versus nighttime. This level of customization makes Bookfusion feel personal. It adapts to how we read instead of forcing us into a default. If you are someone who takes notes while reading, you will love this part. We look at how we can annotate our ebooks in Bookfusion and why that's such a powerful feature for Obsidian users and anyone taking notes while reading. Highlighting in Bookfusion is simple and flexible. We just select the text and pick one of the many highlight colors, making it easy to group or categorize ideas visually. If we click on a highlight, we have several options. The first one is to copy the highlighted text to our clipboard. Next, we can add one or more tags to a highlight. These tags show up in search and filter options, making it easy to organize our notes by themes like insight, quote, or follow up. If we want to add context to a highlight, we can attach a quick note. This is a private note. It will not be visible in the branch feed, which we're going to see later. Contrary to notes, we can share comments, making them a great tool when collaborating on a document or discussing a book in our virtual book club. If we want to share a highlight more broadly, we can click the share icon and post it directly to Facebook or Twitter, or copy a link to send privately. Bookfusion collects all our highlights and annotations in one place, and we can filter them by book, category, author, tag, or date. This means we are not just reading passively, we are actively building a knowledge base while reading and annotating. And in a later chapter, we will take all of this and bring it into Obsidian, exactly how we want it to be. There is a feature in Bookfusion that most readers ignore, but if you are part of a book club or like sharing ideas, it might surprise you. This is basically a feed of our activities. By default, it is disabled, so we can decide if and when we want to activate it. It's called the branch, a personal activity feed where our highlights, comments, and book notes show up like a timeline. By default, it's turned off, and that's good, because we get to decide if and what we want to share. Once activated, We can click on our profile picture, then go to Settings, Privacy, to control what we want to share and with whom. The options range from only me to family, friends, friends of friends, a selected friend list, or entirely public. As mentioned, the branch is our personal activity feed, like a timeline of our highlights, comments, and reviews. We can use it to interact with others, discuss books and papers, and share our reading experience and opinions with anyone who might be interested. To make it a bit more lively, we can also share photos and, of course, add books to the discussion, even if we have not started reading them just yet. This is great if you're looking for recommendations or early feedback. Branch isn't just about broadcasting. It's about having a lightweight way to reflect, share, and even collaborate on reading without giving up privacy or control. If you're part of a book club, study group, or just curious about what others are reading, we can follow users, like and comment on their highlights. So, whether you're flying solo or part of a virtual book club, it's a feature worth exploring. Did you know Bookfusion is not just for our own books? It also lets us borrow books from public and private libraries directly through the platform. After clicking on libraries, we can browse public and private ones. To join a library, we simply click on it and then select Join Library. Once inside, we can explore the collection, filter by category, author, or tags, and use search to find quickly what we need. As soon as we find something interesting, we just click on the book and select Borrow. If it is available, it gets added to our bookshelf right away. Otherwise, we can join the waitlist and Bookfusion will notify us when it is our turn. We can still highlight, annotate, and bookmark, although some libraries may restrict exporting annotations depending on their settings. Each borrowed book includes a visible loan countdown, so we always know how much time we have left until we need to return the book. When the time is up, the book is returned automatically, so we don't need to worry about overdue borrowing. And best of all, our annotations stay in our account even after the loan ends and we have returned the book. So if you're looking to explore more books without buying each and every one of them, this feature makes Bookfusion feel more like a digital co-working space, not just a bookshelf or an ebook reader. Bookfusion isn't just for solo readers, it is built for teams too. If you're part of a school, company, or a research group, Bookfusion lets you build a shared digital library, curated, searchable, and totally under your control. Organizations can set up a centralized digital library where members access curated collections of ebooks. This setup is ideal for educational institutions, corporate training, or collaborative research environments. Administrators can upload ebooks directly to the organization's library. After uploading, they can edit metadata, assign categories and tags, and control visibility settings to define general permissions for borrowing and downloading the book. Note that these individual book settings will overrule the general library settings. To grant access, admins can add members individually or in bulk using email invitations. Alternatively, they can generate a request access link, allowing users to apply for access, which admins can then approve or deny. Admins can also create permission groups to manage access to specific content. I have created two of those, one for management and one for database. By assigning curated lists to these groups, organizations can ensure that members only see materials relevant to their respective role or department. Once added, members can browse the library, borrow books, and access materials assigned to their group, just like we saw in the previous chapter. This structured approach lets organizations manage digital content efficiently, ensuring the right people have access to the right materials at the right time. Now, let's take a quick look at the Bookfusion store, where we can discover and purchase ebooks directly inside the platform. Once inside, we can browse a wide variety of ebooks, magazines, journals, and even curated bundles. As always, we have multiple options to filter the store content, making discovery quick and easy. Bookfusion also offers an extensive selection of free books, including many public domain classics and open access academic titles. These are a great way to test out the platform or extend our library at no cost. For paid titles, we can either buy individual books or subscribe to collections. Some publishers and organizations offer bundled subscriptions that give access to rotating selections, similar to a digital reading room. If we decide to purchase a title, it is added directly to our personal library and ready to read immediately on any device. So, whether we are looking to build our library, support specific publishers, or just browse for something new, the Bookfusion store gives us options that integrate directly with the rest of our reading and note taking setup. If you read on the go, on your phone or tablet, you will want to hear the next part. Bookfusion has mobile apps for both iOS and Android. These apps give us the full reading experience we have seen on the desktop, but optimized for small screens. As mentioned, we can get mobile applications for both iOS and Android. This is the Android version, and the app delivers an optimized experience for smaller screens while still offering the same flexibility we have already seen for adjusting reading settings. Once we log in, our entire library synchronizes automatically. That includes personal uploads, borrowed books, and anything we have purchased through the store. All the reading features are here: bookmarks, annotations, color themes, scrolling direction, font settings, and even text to speech. And yes, highlights and annotations made on mobile instead of desktop also synchronize seamlessly into our Obsidian Vault through the same plugin. No extra steps needed. So wherever we read, at home, travel, or at work, Bookfusion fits right into our note-taking system without missing a beat. Okay, this chapter is where things get exciting for Obsidian users. Bookfusion has its own native plugin, and it is designed to synchronize our highlights straight into our vault with full control. To get started, we open Obsidian. Click on the Settings gear, Community Plugins, and Browse. Then we search for Bookfusion. Click on the plugin, Install, and Options. Here we find a button called Connect. We click it and get to the Bookfusion login. After authenticating, we should be on the integration page where we click on Connect again. We confirm that we want to open Obsidian, and that's it. Once connected, we have just a few options for the plugin. We can disconnect, which we obviously don't want to do right now. We can clear the synchronization data. Note that this does not delete your notes, only the related synchronization information used by the plugin to know what it's synced already and what still needs to be done. Next, we can define a synchronization interval, either automatically from 30 minutes to 24 hours or manually, which is my preference. When we close the settings dialog, we can find a new icon in our left-hand toolbar for triggering the synchronization. If you're not using the toolbar, you can also do that via the command palette, and of course, you can assign a hotkey for it. But before we do that, let's explore how we can control and customize this sync between Bookfusion and Obsidian. If you're serious about using Obsidian for your reading notes, then templates are where things get powerful. And if you have ever used the Kindle Highlights plugin, you will know what I mean. But Bookfusion goes further, giving us template control over everything: file names, front matter, highlight formatting, long or atomic notes, all in plain Markdown. Let's head back to Bookfusion, more specifically to the integrations page. We click on the settings button for Obsidian and get to a page that might be a bit overwhelming at first. Here we can control which books to synchronize and whether to group all highlights into one note or generate atomic notes. We can also customize the template used for creating the Obsidian note. My suggestion here is to synchronize a single note that contains highlights and annotations. See how it looks like, and then adapt the template as you wish. Before our first sync, let's see what options we have for customizing it. Back on the integration settings page in Bookfusion, we find a preview of the template's Markdown code and several areas that we can expand to customize this template. We start with file name and path. By default, this points to a Bookfusion folder created in our root directory. We can change that to match our existing folder structure. Here and in all the other sections, we can also use variables. For example, for the author's name and the book's title to build the actual note name. Whatever changes we do on this side of the screen will automatically show up in the template code too. Whenever we use variables, we see placeholder values to give us an idea how the actual data will look like. Now we take a look at the page template. This is the section after the front matter and before the actual highlights. Bookfusion lets us add any other text or variables here that we want. As always, we can use Markdown syntax for formatting. Next, we can customize how our highlights shall look like in Obsidian. Once again, we can use text, variables combined with Markdown code for the formatting to make sure it looks the way we want it to. Bookfusion offers a default template for this section too. It includes a link to the book in Bookfusion directly. Then it displays the highlights creation date and time, checks for tags, and adds them if they exist. As mentioned, we can use different colors for our highlights. This template also shows which one we used for each highlight. Then it checks if we added notes to the highlight in Bookfusion and, if so, includes those too. Lastly, we get a link to the respective highlight and can jump there easily. The next section is for customizing the chapter title. Bookfusion groups highlights by chapter, and here we can format this title. By default, this is a simple heading 3. We are almost done. In the front meta template, we find a lot of data by default, including information about the bookshelves the book is on, the authors, categories, series, and of course tags. But careful, these are the book tags as used in Bookfusion. Personally, I like to rename this field to book tags so it does not interfere with my tags in Obsidian. And this is it for the various templates. One more thing, the update policy. Bookfusion offers 4 different options here. Append, which simply adds any new updates to the end of the existing node. Replace, which always overrides the existing node. Magic inserts any new highlights or annotations into our existing node in the right place and synchronizes changes to existing highlights. This is my go-to setting in real life. For this demo, I select Replace so we can see our template customizations better. And then there is Smart Insert, which does pretty much the same as Magic, but without replacing existing content. So any changes to existing highlights would not synchronize. Okay, let's sync our first set of highlights. For testing and tweaking our templates, it's not necessary to synchronize our entire library. Let's just use a single book. To do so, we scroll to the end of the page, disable the Sync All option, and click on Choose Objects. Then we just pick a book where we have multiple highlights in various colors and also some notes. In my case, that's Hidden Potential by Adam Grant. Normally, and once the templates are as I want them, I set this to Synchronize All and Sync Content with Highlights Only. Then we go back to Obsidian and click the Bookfusion button. After a couple of seconds, we should get a summary of the synced content. By default, the plugin creates a folder called Bookfusion in the Vault's root directory. So let's go there and open this node. Once we open the new book node, we see that our highlights and notes are indeed there. The title, cover image, and a summary of the metadata, followed by a description. We also see when we added the book to Bookfusion, when we read in it the last time, and our reading progress. And then we get the list of our actual highlights. Just as defined in a template, we have the chapter title, a link to the book in Bookfusion, the creation date, the color of the highlighted text or picture itself, and a direct link to this highlight. That's a good start and certainly contains a lot of data. However, for me, it's almost too much and also somewhat redundant, especially the block with metadata inside the node. So I played around a bit and adapted the default templates. And here is another nice feature. Bookfusion lets us create different profiles for syncing. So far, we have been working with the demo profile to show the standard templates. Let's switch to my default profile. We can see that it contains my custom file path and name and my adapted templates for the various sections. To enable this profile for syncing, we still need to click on Connect, allow the browser to open Obsidian, and that's it. Now we go back to Obsidian and enter the Bookfusion plugin settings. Here we click on Clear Synchronization State. Then we close the settings and click the Bookfusion icon. This creates a new note in my highlights folder. I will open it side by side to the other one, and we can clearly see how different they are. As you can see, this is very flexible, easy to use, and fast to synchronize. But there's one more thing that I kept from you until now: atomic highlight notes. If you are into Obsidian, you have probably heard of atomic notes. The idea is simple. Instead of having one long note for an idea or a topic, we break things down, one note per subtopic, small bit of information, and connect them. For some workflows, this changes everything and is great. For others, it's overkill. The good news? Bookfusion gives us the choice. We can stick with a single synchronized note or switch on atomic highlights, where every highlight becomes its own standalone node with its own metadata, backlinks, and structure in Obsidian. We can enable atomic nodes in the integration settings by toggling the Enable Atomic Highlights option. We can also define the folder structure and naming convention using variables, for example, the book title, chapter name, or even highlight color. I already created a profile for atomic highlights and connected it to Obsidian as explained in the previous chapter. Remember to clear the synchronization state in the Bookfusion plugin if you want to try this. Let's sync our single book now using this option. After syncing, we will see that instead of one long node, we get a folder with many smaller nodes. Each of these nodes is one highlight. We can control the node content and format in the same way as before via the templates in Bookfusion. So if we want to build a zettelkasten style system, a knowledge graph, or just want maximum flexibility when reviewing our highlights, atomic highlights might be a great way to do so. If you're coming from Kindle, you're probably wondering how to bring your existing ebook collection into Bookfusion. Here is how I did it step by step. The first step is getting access to our actual ebook files. If you're using a Kindle e-reader, you can plug it into your computer and just copy the books. If you're using the Kindle desktop app, you will find the downloaded files in your Kindle content folder. For me, this is in my OneDrive folder under My Kindle Content. If you have difficulties downloading your books, you may have to use and install an older version of the Kindle Reader app. Just use the link in the description or search for Kindle app version 1.17. Important note here: many of the Kindle books have DRM, Digital Rights Management protection, meaning you cannot legally convert or use them outside the Kindle ecosystem in some countries. Laws vary. So, before you do what I'm going to show you now, please check the legal situation in your country to make sure you don't do anything illegal. Understand that what I'm showing you is a technical possibility and not a recommendation for you to implement. To manage and upload books to Bookfusion, I use Calibre, a free ebook management tool. We can add our Kindle books via drag and drop or by using the menu and specifying the source folder. With Calibre, we can organize our library, edit metadata, and, that's why we are here, upload books directly to Bookfusion using their plugin. That said, this is not a Calibre tutorial. If you would like me to do a deep dive into that process, let me know in the comments below. Currently, Bookfusion does not support importing Kindle highlights, but I talked to the team and they confirmed that they're planning to release this feature still in 2025. So what I did was to finish the books I was already reading on Kindle and started all new reading inside of Bookfusion. So while the migration does take a bit of a setup, it is completely doable even for non-technical people, and it is a one-time effort that gives us full control of our library in the future. I have been using Kindle for years, and honestly, it is still a great ecosystem. But after switching to Bookfusion, here is what I found and why I am not going back. Let's take a moment to talk honestly about what Bookfusion does better and where Kindle still has the edge. Because while I made the switch, this does not necessarily mean that Bookfusion is perfect for everyone. Let's compare how they perform in various key criteria, starting with supported file formats. Both platforms support most of the common ones. But Amazon has discontinued support for Mobi in 2022 and does not support EPUB natively. Instead, it converts EPUB into their own format. Bookfusion also supports CBR, CBC, and Markdown. So overall, that's a point for Bookfusion. When we look at highlights and annotations, both platforms support multiple highlight colors, although for Kindle this depends on the device. Adding notes to highlights, synchronizing across devices, and highlight sharing and copying. There are plugins to synchronize those highlights to Obsidian, but while the Bookfusion team creates their own, the one for Kindle is a community plugin. This also results in easier customization options for the sync with Bookfusion. And then there are some things we can do in Bookfusion that I did not find on Kindle. This includes adding tags to our highlights, atomic highlights, collaboration via the comment and branch functions, and a grouped highlight review. Overall, Bookfusion offers more functionality and flexibility when working with highlights and annotations, and an easier way to synchronize what we want and how we want it to Obsidian. These are two major benefits for me personally. But Kindle still has advantages. First, the store. While the Bookfusion store is growing, if you buy most of your books from Amazon, the Kindle ecosystem is hard to beat. It's seamless and familiar. Second, hardware. Kindle devices still offer one of the best e-ink reading experiences out there, and Bookfusion does not, yet, run natively on those. So here is my take. If you mostly buy books from Amazon and don't mind staying inside the Kindle system, stick with it. But if you want more control, better integration with Obsidian, and the freedom to manage ebooks from multiple sources, Bookfusion is absolutely worth it. Oh, speaking of worth it, how much does Bookfusion cost? Currently, they offer 4 plans, including a completely free one. Depending on the plan, we get a certain amount of storage space, maximum file size to upload, and other limitations. Just check the comparison table on their website. The paid plans range from $2 to $10 per month, and if paid yearly, we get a 20% discount. That's pretty okay. If it still seems too expensive, you can use the link in the description and the code LEANPRODUCTIVITY25 for a 25% discount that Bookfusion generously offers to you, my audience. Alright, we have covered a lot in this video. From Bookfusion's powerful reading features and annotation tools to the native Obsidian integration and flexible sync options. Whether we are building a structured knowledge base, managing a growing ebook library, or just want to take better notes, this setup gives us full control over how we read, think, and, hopefully, remember. If you want to try it for yourself, you will find all relevant links in the description below. Let me know in the comments what your setup looks like, or if you want a dedicated tutorial on using Calibre with Bookfusion. And if this helped you, consider subscribing for more productivity tips and Obsidian tutorials like this one, which you could watch next. And that's it for today. Thanks for watching and see you next time.